Hi, I'm Maggie Harding. Today I'd like to share with you how I altered this wide mouth mayonnaise jar. You can use any kind of jar you'd like, but I like this one because it has a wide mouth and I can get my hand all the way to the bottom. I'm using Graphic 45's Raining Cats and Dogs collection along with some gesso, mist, flowers, and ribbon. Now you want to make sure that your jar is clean both inside and out, and then you paint it with white gesso and let that dry, and then you can add a second coat and let that dry. Now we're going to start laying on some color. I'm using Heidi Swap's Color Shine in Georgia Peach, Mustard, and Chartreuse. I also use some Lindy's Tiger Lily Red, Orange, and Prima Glistening Waves, but you can use any colors that you like. For the first coat, I added 3 different colors, and I kind of let those run together just a little bit, letting it drip down the sides before I dry. For the next coats, you want to put just one color on and dry. Add another color and dry. You want to dry between each of your color applications. Otherwise, everything just runs completely together and you don't get that splotches of various colors here and there. As you dry each coat, the jar will heat up, so be careful that you don't burn yourself or heat the jar to the breaking point. The warmer the jar gets, the faster the mist dries, and that's kind of nice. Now, I like to keep a damp paper towel close by so that if I don't like the way something looks, I can blot it off and reapply. Now, here towards the end, I've started using some of the Lindy's Tiger Lily, and instead of pressing the pump in completely so that I get a mist spray, I'm pressing it partially and I'm kind of getting little splotches to come out, and that's the effect that I wanted. I wanted some splotches over top of the finer misting, and I'm doing the same thing with the Prima. When misting, you want to use your light colors before your dark, because you can spray dark colors over top of light, but you sure can't spray light over dark. Okay, I'm happy with the way my jar looks, so for a final touch, I just want to splash on some black dots. I'm using Lindy's Starburst Screaming Banshee Black. You can use whatever you have. Now, if you're going to Mod Podge your jar, you're going to need to use a fixative over the mist. Otherwise, when you paint on the Mod Podge, it's going to smear the mist. I use Krylon Workable Fixative, and it's available at most craft stores, but you need to use it in a well-ventilated area, so I didn't film that. Now, while that's drying, we can assemble the band. The plaid piece is 2 3/8 by 12, and the floral piece is 1.5 inches by 12, and then the strip, which you cut the black and red portion. Just layer them over top of each other. I used Mod Podge to glue them together since I'm going to be Mod Podging the whole jar. Next, glue the strip onto the jar, putting Mod Podge on both the strip and the jar, as I find it adheres better this way. Make sure all the edges are firmly pressed down. Sorry, somehow this part didn't get filmed. Notice that the band doesn't fit completely all around the jar, so I'm adding in a little scrap paper so that I have a nice smooth surface. I'm covering that with a little bit more Mod Podge, and I'm going to use my rub-on tool to smooth it all down. Then I've taken one of the cut apart cards, the one that says all you need is love and a dog, and I'm matting that onto a piece of the plaid paper. I marked the placement on my jar so that I'd get it straight, and then I'm using more Mod Podge to glue it down. Then I'm going to go over the surface of the whole jar with Mod Podge, make sure that all of my edges are nicely glued and tight. Fussy cut one of the large floral clusters from the Cat's Meow paper and then glue that to your jar. Be sure to put Mod Podge on both the jar and the flower and adhere to the jar, then coat the top. Then for the other side of the jar, cut one of the smaller floral clusters, the one that has sort of the cream-colored flower, and adhere that to the right side of the jar. Now cut a circle from the plaid paper and glue that to your lid. Now it's time to decorate the lid. I've started off with a Prima vine, which I've kind of shaped around the lid, and I tied a bow, placing that a little off center. I find that when I'm decorating lids that I need to build up a little height because otherwise things look kind of funny if they're just flat on the lid. So I've used the vine to help do that. And when I'm placing my flowers, I'm pushing them up against the ribbon and the vine so that they stand up a little bit and they're not laying flush against the lid. And that's all there is to it. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments section of my blog so that I can give you an answer. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you do make a tree jar, please leave me a link. I'd love to see what you did.